Squat, you must. Set up, you will. You shall squat.
What's going on, everyone? This is David. I'm here to talk to you based on what Gainsdolf, or should we say the bro of all gains, the Jim Gandalf, about squatting and its checklist. Now, we're going to be talking about the extremities and working their way in from the feet to the hands to the shoulders to creating a shelf to bracing, so the outside working its way in. So first thing you need to worry about when you're squatting is that your hands are in an optimal position on the bar. You want to make sure that you grab the bar with your hands in the exact same side on both sides of the bar, rather than being lopsided on one portion of the bar, simply because it'll lead to a weight redistribution that is not optimal and will cause balance issues. At the same time, you want to make sure that your feet are in the exact same position when you unrack and re-rack. So obviously it wouldn't make sense to take large steps during your squat when you're backing up or returning, simply because you have a load on your back, and simply put, it's going to cause a load to be distributed in another suboptimal position. So how do you worry about fixing this? Come into the bar in the same way. Leave the bar in the same way. Have a consistent setup every single time. Next, your shoulders and the shelf. You want to make sure that you're not having your shoulders in a position where they're going to be rounded forward, which is going to lead to some sort of thoracic rounding. And at the same time, you want to be able to create a shelf on your back, so that if you're back squatting, the bar doesn't move. If you're front squatting, you want to be able to create a shelf on the front side position of your delts, so the bar can actually rest on that anterior portion. At the same time, you want to have an optimal step up. Too many times I've seen like introductory, or just for lack of better terms, people that don't know what they're doing on the squat, take too many steps and have an inconsistent setup. When you're starting your squat, you don't need more than 3 steps. One step to move with the back, with your lead leg, another leg with the secondary leg, and then bring that lead leg to be parallel with your secondary leg. That's all you need. Same process when you re-rack, super simple, get it on track, make it something that's going from an unconscious to a conscious, and then back to being unconscious, that you don't have to think about it. It should be ingrained that the moment you set up, that is what you're executing doing. Next, we want to talk about bracing. So you want to make sure that you actually are bracing and not hollowing. Too many times you see people misrepresent their brace as a hollow. So hollowing is essentially a tactic where you, I'm not going to lift my shirt right up for you, but you essentially take your stomach and suck everything in. Versus bracing, where you're going to maintain a rigid torso, push everything out, and then hold it from that position. I'm not saying there's something wrong with hollowing per se, but its application is not in where a squat should be. So if you're looking to maintain torso rigidity, hollowing is not going to be the greatest option for you to work with, versus bracing, where it will, essentially based on what the name is doing, brace, stop the torso from moving, leads to torso rigidity. So when you go to squat, after you've mastered your setup, after you've gotten ready to go, and you're just about ready to go down, brace hard, keep everything ready to go. If you're hitting maximal lifts, you might need to be bracing from the moment you unrack. Pay attention to that. Next, we're going to talk about bar position. So obviously I alluded to earlier about high, low, and front squats. So obviously with a high bar, the bar is going to rest higher on your back. Chances are it's going to be resting at the meaty portion, we'll call it, of the upper fibers of your traps. For the setup on that, generally your hands can fit closer together, where you're not going to have any elbow pain or anything like that. And if you do have elbow pain, chances are there's an underlying discomfort or cause, such as like shoulder problems, but that is another story for another day. For a low bar squat, the bar typically sits a lot lower, so you want to make sure that you're setting it up basically at like right at the top of your shoulder blades, like the middle portion of the shoulder blades. And the rationale for that is it allows your chest to translate forward a little bit more, and you can get a little bit more hip drive. And finally, or not hip drive, a little bit more hip extension, so it's a little bit more of a hip dominant based movement. And finally, with your front squats, as we talked about earlier in this video, the bar is going to sit a little bit on the front side of your body. You're going to be resting it into your delts, and a little bit of it's going to be on the meaty portion of your chest. So the objective with what you're trying to do with a front squat is essentially displace the load on the front side of your body. So you want to make sure that you're set up in an optimal position that is the exact same type of setup and format as what it would be for your low, high, and theoretically goblet squat, but not really covered in this video. The premise still is the exact same. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hope you found this video informative. Get out there and make Swole Gandalf or Bro Gandalf, Gains Gandalf, whatever you want to call him, the Gandalf of Smart Fitness proud. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, stay strong, like, comment, and subscribe.